Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of the Nintendo News Report for Thursday, July 25th, 2019. I'm your host, Donald Terriel, and I'm looking at a notice that says that Hangouts on Air is going away August 1st, so we will have more on that later. Joining me this week is the owner and reviews editor of Nintendo World Report, a man who is running around with a World Series pennant, apparently, Neal Ronahan.
Hey guys, Super Mega Baseball 2 is out on Switch today. It is a very good day. Some would say that the 25th of a month might be Christmas. And since this is the day that Super Mega Baseball 2 comes out on Switch, you know what? It feels like Christmas.
Yeah, I gotta get. If I didn't have another game of big hitting and strategy coming at me in like an hour and a half, I probably would have already bought it. I actually got I did the digital preload for Fire Emblem because I got $50 in free eShop credit from my job.
Nice.
That's not bad.
But the other, yeah, and I might be able to get a little bit more at some point. But anyway, the other voice we have this evening, live from Alaska, a man who is very excited to see somebody else play Omega Labyrinth Life next week, Zach Miller.
Is that next week? Holy shit.
Yeah, they announced worldwide. I mean, like, that's something kind of impressive about the, shall I say, the melons on that announcement. Is that like usually with a lot of those games, you have such a lag. I guess beating around the bush. Go if you are 18 or older, Google what Omega Labyrinth Life is.
Also,
it is part of that like Japanese developed dungeon crawler that may or may not have a lot of anime girls.
Yeah, and the previous game in that series was denied localization after the Australian government refused to let it in the country. The British government refused to allow it to get a physical release. And then Sony said, there are way too many underage girls in this game. No. Because the previous game was going to come out on the PS4 and the Vita. And, well, this is the evolved form of the Vita, apparently.
It sounds like a Vita game.
So I just wanted to go get a quote.
I'm not reviewing this, and I'm very pleased to say that James Jones is reviewing this, and it will be glorious.
I think the outcome of that is that we're just sending a code to Lindemann. I think that's what happened. Anyway, so the story with this game, Omega Labyrinth Life and Labyrinth Life. Omega Labyrinth Life is coming to Switch. Labyrinth Life is coming to PlayStation 4. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think that the main difference is that the Switch version has more boobs.
It does. Sony's really cracking down on boobs.
Yeah. But here's a quote from what is described as a... Okay, go on.
I was just going to say that Sony is cracking down on underage boobs.
Okay, sorry.
This is what is described as a Japanese roguelike dungeon RPG. Here's the quote from the end of the first paragraph of the press release that came out today, actually. D3 Publisher aims to deliver a lewd, busty, and hardcore roguelike experience utilizing turn-based tactics and growing powers that are bestowed within each maiden's breasts. Fire Emblem,
you can go
your heart
from
out.
A cup to Z cup, apparently. I'm not sure what that even looks like.
You know, I suppose there are worse ways to go out on the service. We were getting demonetized anyway, so F it, let's go all the way.
Yeah. So Mega Labyrinth Life, you might see coverage. You might see coverage of the game that isn't in the game, apparently. But it's not going to be a priority. What is a priority is that Fire Emblem game coming out in a couple hours. Check out our review on this channel. Way less discussion of Japanese dungeon RPG games with maidens with boobs.
Yeah, and although there is a bit of controversy surrounding Fire Emblem Three Houses, we will get to that in a bit because there's some way more important news that happened this week. The issue of the Joy-Con drift was bubbling for a while, I would say, but it really kicked into high gear last week when I think it was a survey at Kotaku that said like a quarter to a half of the staff had that issue in some form. And then we had Guillaume talking about it on last week's episode of Radio Free Nintendo. And then on Tuesday, we got a memo obtained by the good folks at Waypoint revealed that Nintendo, after getting a class action lawsuit opened against them for the Joy-Cons, is going to issue refunds if you had Joy-Con repairs, and they will repair the Joy-Cons, no questions asked.
I mean, good.
Yeah. And I will say I'm in a two Switch household. The Joy-Con replacement rate here is 50%, and I would probably have done it myself if it wasn't for the fact that I use the Pro Controller 90% of the time when I'm at home.
Now that it's free, I'll probably do it because I've had the issue, but it's never been consistently bad enough for me to bother being like, I'm gonna pay Nintendo money and send my controllers away. But now that it's free, I'm way more likely to send my controllers in, because I have had the issue with I have 6 Joy-Con, and 2 of them I've had the issue with.
What's weird to me is that it's so inconsistent between users.
Yeah,
it's like every Switch, every Joy-Con is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo isn't going to say this, and you know what? I will admit it's not 100% proven to be this, but like there's just some defects in those early controllers that may or may not have been ironed out with future ones. But regardless, there are real problems with the durability of Joy-Con controllers, and maybe even the Switch in general. I know like there's like a point on the system that seems to like on a corner of the system that reliably seems to just break off depending on how you use your system. Seems to work fine, but apparently that just happens in a certain spot. Hopefully, as we get these revisions, it'll be better. But it's disappointing that Nintendo's durability used to be such a strength of theirs. With like Game Boys surviving the Iraq Wars, it's at the Nintendo store in New York City. You can go see it. It's still playing Tetris. That's not going to happen with the Switch. It's not that it's. I mean, it's still a portable tablet-like console, but it's not. It's not like it's super fragile. But there's enough things to break on it that make it a concern.
I had to send one of the. I want to say one of the Joy-Cons in. Oh yeah, no, I didn't send one of the Joy-Cons in because it was outside of warranty. Right outside of warranty, one of the sticks just stopped working.
Yeah. No, like it seems like they're built for obsolescence. So the crazy thing with all of this, like the warranty stuff, especially in America, I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but like I don't think this policy exists in Japan, for example. So if you are trying to do a repair order with NCL over in Japan, you probably still have to pay for the repair order. As far as I know right now, this is only confirmed for NOA. I'm not sure of NOE. I did hear people in Japan saying that you couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think NOE at this point hasn't made the jump either, at least according to reports from people that are familiar with the matter. So I don't know if NOA is being used as a test case here to come back to the home office at NCL and say, guys, we need to do something. Like we need to make this policy worldwide, or we need to do, God forbid, we have to do a recall.
Yeah.
But
I do have I'll call out Reverend Meat Toad in the chat. That's a name. They asked, how do you get them to repair it? I have not gone through the process for this specifically myself, but if you go to Nintendo of America's support page, they have, I don't think it's 24/7, but they have a very good support number that you can call. Like you'll get Nintendo Music as the hold music, so that's neat. And every experience that I've had with Nintendo of America support over the years has been extremely pleasant. Even when it's been something like I tripped and a 3DS screen got broken way out of warranty, and I had to pay money for that one. It wasn't a free warranty, so that was just a bad experience all around. But they were still super nice and helpful, and expedient service is what you can expect from NOA. Good customer service there.
Yeah. So it's 800-255-3700 is Nintendo support number, and during the week they're open 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time, so basically 9 to 10 Eastern. So good. So there's plenty of time to reach out to them and enjoy the Hyrule Field music, as the hold. I've had to call them a few times in recent years. Although one time was actually for when the website itself broke, so I'm not sure how effective that would have been, but they did eventually fix it. Yeah, kind of hard to do sale lists when, hey, half the games aren't on. I have to pull up the Switch and see what half the games that are actually on sale are.
Oh
yeah. So that was the thing that happened. So they announced some new Joy-Con colors this week. I'm hoping whatever fixes they're doing on these will just come built into the new controllers, because but then again, Nintendo, of course, they have the hard part's going to be is if this happens with the Switch Lite, because if the controls on the Switch Lite go, you got to replace the whole system. Now, granted, I have replaced the whole system before, but yeah, that's not something I look forward to doing.
Yeah. I would hope the Switch Lite's more durable. It kind of has to be by how it's being presented and how it will likely be used.
My brother's hoping the same thing. He intends to get one for my nephew, and he's 6.
Yeah. I was thinking of getting one for my kid. He just turned a year, right? I could just give him one. He'll be fine.
Just load up Super Mario Bros. On
Actually, a slight dad talk to interrupt this. It's controller related, I swear. So I was try to do my best limiting the screen time, as it were. But every now and then I'll be like, all right, like this is a colorful game. He'll probably enjoy this. Sat down to play Super Mega Baseball 2 with the kid. Sports games for babies, or sports in general, like, because you can see the ball, like, kind of action happening and stuff. I've found that my son enjoys watching soccer and stuff like that. So he enjoyed watching me play a game of Super Mega Baseball. Later in the day, he finds the Switch Pro controller, picks it up, hands it to me, and then sits in front of the TV, being like, "Dad, play more baseball."
Oh, that's funny. Here's your son.
But in that process, he got really into wanting to hold the video game controller.
Oh.
Fortunately, I believe it's a Power 8 controller. It's a wired controller that I got for review close to the Switch's launch. I can do it so there's no cable, because it's just like a USB cable that plugs into the controller, and there's no batteries in it because it has to work wired. So he is a little controller that he now carries around the house. It's very, very, very amusing.
And in 12 years, he'll be running for the site.
Yeah. I hope he'll reveal his true self and name when he is of age, and then he will own the site. I think that's how it works.
Yeah. So back to the Switch Lite here. So they announced that a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, just because of trying to figure out what we're going to do with the show here, we haven't had a chance to talk about it now. But gist of it is September 20th, same day as Link's Awakening, $200 US, 3 colors to start, obligatory Pokemon 1 in November, and no docking at all.
Yeah, if you could dock that thing, I'd buy it.
Me too. I like the form factor.
Yeah, I love there was some good comparison. I want to say I first saw it on IGN. I did not do my full journalistic resource here, so if it was another site that IGN picked it up from, I apologize. So a bunch of good comparisons to the Switch Lite to like what the Switch is, 3DS, 2DS, stuff like that. It's a little bit bigger than a Vita, and as far as the footprint of it compared to like a folded up 3DS, it's not really like in some respects it's smaller than the 3DS XL.
It's thinner for sure.
Yeah. And I think it might be like height shorter, but then it's wider because of the Joy-Con. Like I think kind of the screen. I mean, the screen size is bigger than the 3DS, but as far as like the footprint of that screen, it's not that far off overall, which is kind of incredible, kind of wonderful. But I can't justify that if it's handheld only.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get it just because I don't bring the Switch to work as much as I should unless I really need to play something for review. But I'm more likely to pull that because if it's as you describe, where it's smaller than a 3DS XL, that makes it infinitely more pocketable for me. So I'm more likely to pull that out on the bus than rather than just dick around on my phone or whatever
Yeah.
on
I
the way to
also
work. So
and I would say if I was probably commuting on public transportation, I'd consider it more. I found, I guess, just kind of as I settle into life in my early 30s here, uh, I don't play games portably outside of my house as often as I used to.
Same.
yeah, but the way I see it, I can, if I make that my primary system, like a Switch Lite, if it's the primary system for my Nintendo account, then I know bloody well that I can play it on the Switch that's docked to my TV right now and be able to go out, and it will have the internet connection because you have to be online if it's a secondary console. So I can use that for playing on TV when I'm home, or like if I need to capture video or something, I can do it that way. And then, yeah, and oh, big whoop, I can't play 1-2 Switch on the Switch Lite. I wasn't playing that anyway.
What?
I don't, because you literally need
Oh,
to
I
bring
know. I know.
Joy-Cons with you.
I was being fake, horrified that you weren't
Yeah.
going to be able to play that.
And nothing of value was lost.
Exactly.
1-2 Switch. It was what do we get that a 6 when that came out?
I think there's a lot of charm and humor in that game, but like not
I
for
don't
the
know. We
price.
played it at PAX, and it was like, what are they doing?
Like, but it's funny. It just it feels like a tech demo, and the fact that it was $50 at launch, like
It still is $50.
Could have been the
that's
Pac-Man.
not great. I don't even know if it worked as a pack-in. I think I
No?
remember talking to someone about this when the Switch came out, and I was like, "Why isn't that a pack-in?" And I think people were like, "Well, it's not good enough. You don't want it to associate it with the whole system." Like the reason why Wii Sports worked so well is because Wii Sports was pure gold.
Yeah.
1-2 Switch ain't pure gold. I like. It's not a great game. I think there are things about it that are commendable, like the fact that Nintendo was doing some FMV goofery in 2017.
That's true.
Yeah, but the hard part for me though is determining what color do I want to get, or do I want to wait till November and get the Pokemon one, because that honestly looks the best one of the bunch.
How is there not a Link's Awakening one? Like, I might buy that.
Yeah, that's actually if there is a Zelda themed system, I'm getting that for my wife. I have been informed that there has to be a second Switch in the house when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out.
Oh, there you go.
That in no uncertain terms, that was decreed. She's like, I'm not fighting you for this game, because she's probably played 300 hours of Zelda at this point.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Oh, so a little less than Justin.
Yeah, it's one of those things where because my wife's profile on the Switch is not connected, like she doesn't have a Nintendo account set up, and that's the only way that you can see the hours played.
Oh.
We are in the dark about exactly how much Zelda she has played, but it is one of those things
She could have played like CJC of Thieves amount of time.
Yeah, like it could be an obscene amount. I'm probably conservatively guessing at my 200 300 mark. But one of these days I will maybe I'll do that right now. I'll go make a Nintendo account for her so we can see how long she's played Zelda.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, and that wasn't the only Nintendo hardware news that came out while we were on technical hiatus. Then there's also going to be a revision to the Switch hardware starting to float into North America mid-August that will have vastly increased battery life and, the more important feature for Nintendo, way better security.
Oh.
Yes. So it'll have so instead of the range of 2.5 to 6 hours, we're going to get 4.5 to 9, which
Yeah, that's
I'm
a big battery boost. I don't know how much of it has been I mean, I guess we'll get full teardowns and junk when those systems are out in the wild. It kind of just seems like it's like we made the Switch Lite and along the way found ways to make the regular Switch a little more efficient. So, I mean, that kind of. It's weird that it's kind of like an announced release as opposed to just like we're rolling out new Switches quietly, which is what other companies have done in the past.
Yeah, because it seems like that's the only big change is the battery life and, well, the security stuff in there. So there's not a lot of reason to. I suppose there's not a lot of reason to upgrade if you're in that 20-30% of people that never undock their Switch.
Yeah.
So I've heard of some deals around here where I could trade a Switch and get one for $35, I think, after tax. So if that comes around again, I might jump on that, assuming I can get the new Rev. But if not, yeah, it doesn't bug me all that much. I'm not going to do the homebrew thing anyway. So
yeah, I mean, the piracy aspect of it doesn't affect me. I'm not gonna go do that, and the battery life would be the only appealing thing. But when we were just talking about the light, I don't play portable outside of my house as often as I used to. I think the only time I've kind of run the battery on the Switch down low is on a flight, or I forgot to charge it overnight, which is just on me.
Yeah. The default setting for my Switch is in the dock, so I'm not really in a position to be concerned with battery life, because I'm not flying the LA, Edmonton, Toronto thing that I did around E3. I'm not doing that again anytime soon, especially since PAX is February next year, PAX East. So I can't go. So I'm not gonna really run down the Switch, and even by then I'd have a light anyway, so nothing to worry about there. So I think if there was one other thing that if it had a more stable, if it helped lock stuff at 30 or 60 more than what we get on the current Switch, maybe I'd upgrade for that. But as it is now, if it's going to be tethered to the TV all the time, what's the point?
Yeah. All right, I think the people in the chat want us to talk about Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah. So as we mentioned earlier, Fire Emblem Three Houses comes out in an hour. In North America, it's already out in the rest of the world. Our review's on the channel. It's also on the website if you want the transcript. But there was a little bit of controversy this week because turns out the voice of the male version of the Avatar it has a couple of things that various people want him out of the project. He's a abusive SOB, putting it mildly. And also, he was bragging before E3 that he was going to be the voice of Byleth, and therefore was violating an NDA, because whether Nintendo moved it up or not because of him, we weren't supposed to know who any of the voices were in that game until, I believe, last week.
Oh, wow.
So here's the thing with that. I've seen a lot of people report on the story as dude's name is removed from Fire Emblem Heroes due to abusive behavior. Has there been a statement from Nintendo confirming that? Because I wouldn't be surprised if it's related to the NDA thing. It has nothing to do with the abuse.
Yeah, I think like the violation of the NDA, I think came out because he's trying to walk back the abusive thing. Like he's out there on Twitter and Tumblr saying, I need help, basically. And he was bringing that up as part of the conversation. So I think you're right, because but I think the fact that the outcry finally hit NOA this week, because we saw the first time I think that it was publicly acknowledged outside of the people that were reviewing the game that he was the voice actor, was when he got data mined for Fire Emblem Heroes, which happened on Monday morning.
Oh wow!
Because he was like the distribution for that Byleth started today. I got him today, and originally he was credited on as recently as Monday. And then there was an update this morning for Heroes that it ostensibly just fixed the app icon to promote three houses, but at the same time, we saw that the text string changed from guy's name to blank, which I think there's very few circumstances when they will blank out the username. And one of them, I believe, is for Laura Bailey as Lucina, because she's in she's a union voice actor, and she didn't and shouldn't be acknowledged in that fashion, because ever since Codename Steam, essentially, Nintendo has used exclusively non-union voice actors.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot because didn't Nintendo kind of cross the picket lines for some things during the voice actor strike, right?
It was that, but also Codename Steam was a union gig, and one of the people in that game was the person who gave the harassment movement of 2014 its name.
Oh yeah, Baldwin. For the record, I know somebody asked in the chat, Chris Niosi, or Kerbofer, on the Twitters. I actually just went over to his Twitter. Yeah, he's got a lengthy Tumblr post apologizing for being abusive and manipulative and stuff. Jambe is asking in the chat, is this a JonTron type situation? Sort of.
What is that? What does that mean?
He was removed from was it Ukulele, or was it another game?
He was in A Hat in Time as well, but I don't know if he was whatchamacallit, if he was removed from that. I think he was like removed from one but not the other.
Yeah. So far, because Nintendo is in a non-union shop, they can get away with this. He has been discredited or I don't know if that's the proper term to use here, but basically his
credit has been removed
from Heroes. There's a day one update for Three Houses. I wonder if they did the same thing with that, but we probably won't.
We'll find out in an hour, maybe. Well, no, I guess we'd have to.
We'd have to beat the game.
We can ask someone who beat the game to update their copy of the game and check the credits. Hey, Don, if you're watching, you get a job.
Yeah,
I assume that's something that will probably be reported on almost instantly if there is an update about that.
And I mean, it's not like there's been precedent for even removing union voice actors from games, but that was for performance issues. I'm looking at you, Peter Dinklage.
Yeah. To make sure we were accurate about the JonTron stuff, he wasn't removed from A Hat in Time. He was removed from Ukulele.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this that's without getting into specifics of what side of the JonTron stuff you are. We'll try to remain somewhat apolitical. You can find us on Twitter to see what our political leanings are. We're not shy. All three of us, we ain't shy about it. But I mean, it's similar in the sense of that, like, some guy who was supposed to voice a role and recorded the voice for the role then had stuff come up where either they said they put their foot in their mouth or had past misgivings come to light.
Yeah. So what I think will end up happening here, because he's in the game, my understanding from people that have played the game is that he doesn't have, because he's the avatar character, you're going to be doing a lot of the talking for him. So he doesn't have a lot of voice lines in the monastery, but he will have voice lines for like critical hits and things like that in battle.
I'm going
So
Lady Byleth.
yeah, same here.
Like, easy
But,
way
like,
to solve this.
yeah, I will put up with you know, hot for teacher walking around in tights rather than deal with this. I wasn't sure where I was going with Three Houses, aside from which house I'm going to, but I'm definitely going female Byleth now. And
Yeah.
so what'll likely happen is there's DLC for this game, which is going to have story elements. If he has been let go as the voice actor of male Byleth, they're going to have to bring somebody in to re-record. They'll have to record lines anyway for the DLC.
Right.
And if
And
they
that
do
DLC
that,
isn't coming until 2020, right?
April 2020. So honestly, they'd probably be recording it now, if I had to guess. So
I mean, I guess it depends on how to the wire Fire Emblem Three Houses was in general.
Yeah, and so if they do that, they'll probably have that voice actor re-record the battle dialogue. So eventually, whoever this person is, I'm just going off Alexis Tipton since that's who replaced Laura Bailey as Lucina. They'll probably patch that in when the DLC comes out, and when he gets alternate versions in Fire Emblem Heroes, we'll find out if the voice actor has changed or if they're just not crediting him.
Yeah.
And having him continue. Because let's face it, he's going to have alternate versions in Fire Emblem Heroes at some point.
I mean, that's what any beloved Fire Emblem character will have alternate versions in Fire Emblem Heroes, as is the law.
Most of them from Fates, however, but that's another story for another time.
No, it's not. It's not. I don't like Fire Emblem Fates. It's not a good game. I'm excited for Three Houses. That's coming out in 50 minutes. 51 minutes, maybe. Depending on when you're listening. It's probably already out, unless you're watching this live.
And if you're listening to this on iTunes, what are you doing? You're probably playing Three Houses while you're listening to this.
I mean, just going into it, it seems. I don't think we're gonna get spoilery, but if you don't want to know anything about Three Houses like at all, maybe skip around, tune out for a little bit, put us on mute. I'm really excited for the game. Like I think it looks really nice. Apparently, there's a little bit of Koei Tecmo jank in the game. Like I know Don called out in the review that like you can clip through pillars. But I like the idea of the kind of Fire Emblem Hogwarts school for the first half, which seems like a lot of fun. It's unfortunate that it seems like the back half, like because it's kind of split into two parts. Seems like the second part might be a little rough around the edges comparatively.
Yeah, it's getting that Trails of Cold Steel vibe, which I've played a bit of the first two games in that.
Always been if those games came to a Nintendo platform, I would play them. That's the only way at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're Falcom, and Falcom doesn't seem to be up for porting very much at this point.
Yeah, that's a news story in of itself. I think there was an interview at US Gamer with the president of Falcom, because I think Trails of Cold Steel came to PS4 recently.
1 and 2 and 3 is coming out. It got delayed to October.
Okay. But in regards to porting games to Switch, it's just that Falcom isn't big enough. If SNK or NIS America helps him out, then like maybe there's a chance. But
given the unfortunately NISA's track record with handling Falcom ports is, I'll be generous and call it suspect, especially on PC, especially the PC version.
The final release of Ys 8 was pretty good.
Yeah, but it needed
was a journey to get there.
Yeah, it's solid, but yeah, especially with these Trails of Cold Steel games are like 40, 50 hours as well. So, and NAS America has enough on their plate right now because I think they're releasing a game every week in October now.
Yeah, and one of them, the Alliance Alive HD, which is why.
Sure. Yeah, but yeah, so that's where we are with Fire Emblem. anything else news-wise that we should cover that's come up in the last, I don't know, month since we've
Super
done
Mega
one of these?
Baseball 2 out on
Is
Switch right now.
and rad. I believe you said this was like a 5-tool player.
Yeah. This is a game that'll win Cy Young awards, hit for the cycle, win Triple Crowns. First ballot Hall of Famer. The Super Mega Baseball 2 rules.
I can't wait to get that, or I can't wait to have the money to be able to get that. So probably Tuesday, but yeah, I bought Fire Emblem 2 weeks ago, so I'm gonna be knee deep in that. But I'll need yeah.
There's a lot of cool games coming out. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I like that game very much so.
I'm discovering that my Mighty Switch Force muscles have atrophied completely.
Oh no.
Completely.
It's a good game. How's the port?
Oh, that's good. I mean, they're all the exact same games as before.
Have you played the new one yet? Or the newest, the Mighty Switch Force Academy or whatever?
Yeah, you know what it is? Have you played it?
No.
So imagine a Mighty Switch Force level taking up the entire screen.
Yeah.
So everything is itty bitty. And it's multiplayer encouraged, but you can do them solo. Don't play it on your Switch because you'll go blind. Play it on your TV. I haven't played it yet with people, but it seems like it could be a good time.
Cool. Yeah.
And there's a Switch Force game that is not on here that I found out about today. There's an iOS game called Hose It Down, which is a follow-up to 2. And it's a single screen, and you kind of, with your finger, basically do Pipe Dream.
Oh, that's cool.
And then when you're done, she hoses through the maze and rescues the person.
Cool.
That would be fun to play.
I like those games a lot. It's been a while since I've played any of them, so replaying them would be probably a fresh experience at this point.
Yeah, I like them all. And the ending, the end credits song in 2 is like the greatest thing. I don't know if you've heard it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So, and also, I think I'm sure there's a few people watching or listening that this will be relevant to. They've doubled the course upload limit in Mario Maker 2. So it went from 32 to 64, and they're going to increase it one more time before at some point in the future, but that's all they're promising right now as far as that limit goes.
Which is weird, but it's Nintendo and online.
maybe when they add the 6th style, which hopefully they'll add a 6th style at some point, because that gap looks really weird.
Do you think they will?
Of course, I think they will. It's just a matter of do they go Mario 2 USA?
Oh yeah.
I think,
or like Yoshi's Island or something.
Oh, like a hand drawn. Cool. I don't know. Like I still feel like I mean, I guess spoilers. Like you can run into a random level with this if you play the game. I still think a Super Mario Land like theme wouldn't be out of the question, especially with the Super Ball showing up in the game as a power up.
I would buy the game for that.
I'm tempted to do some Mario Land 2 stuff, but yeah, I haven't really had time to do anything in Mario Maker 2 as far as level creation, because God, I've been so busy grinding spheres in Final Fantasy X. Hey, it's JRPG July. What are you gonna do?
By the way, I don't understand how Super Mario Land did not rank higher in your horrible, not horrible, Mario.
Super Mario World is #1, man.
I get that, but Super Mario, Land should have been way higher than like 8. Stop that.
I agree.
It's
weird
short.
It's quirky.
Yeah.
I ranked it pretty high, but I think my list got rejected anyway.
Oh yeah, was yours the ones that had like Land and 3 at the bottom? Or World?
No, I had World. I had 3 #1, but Mario world lost a lot of coin flips in my head.
So what's the future of the show? Hangouts
All
is
right.
dying next week. What are we doing?
Yeah, August. Okay, so with Hangouts going away on August 1st, as I was so gently reminded at the start of the show, we're going to need to do something different with the presentation of Nintendo News Report. So what's going to happen is we're going to be doing shorter shows more frequently. As in, we're going to be aiming for a 3 times a week release schedule. There will be, likely going up early in the morning on the main website. And if you're a patron, you'll probably get them as soon as I can crank them out. So patreon.com/NWR. We're aiming for about 20 minutes a show, with reserving the right to go way longer if there's like a Nintendo Direct, or if, heaven forfend, Miyamoto passes away or something. But it's going to take something big for us to break the 20-minute mark.
Yeah.
And this way we can get it out more frequently and be on top of the news rather than waiting for the one time a week to do the one long show for it. So we'll still we're looking into the possibility of doing what Talk Nintendo does right now, where their episodes also go up on YouTube with, I'm pretty sure they have graphics for that. Maybe we cut gameplay in front of it. I'm not sure, but that's still to be determined. But for now, starting next week, the Nintendo News Report is going to get posted more frequently as a podcast on NintendoWorldReport.com, iTunes, Google Play, all the podcast aggregators. That's where you're going to go to get this show.
And there might be, just a tease, there's a lot that still needs to be figured out of this. There might be still some sort of video show related to Nintendo News Report, but that's still to come.
Yeah. And also I might need to join the Bald Brotherhood at some point, but and for the crossover section that watches old men yell at each other every day on ESPN, you probably know where that's going.
All right, I think that's a show. Goodbye, Nintendo News Report. It's been going on for 4 years, I think.
What? Really?
Almost 4.5.
Wow.
It started before I did on this website.
Oh my God.
If Scott or Alex are listening to this, which I hope you guys are, let us know. You can hop on whatever the weird video show was, or find out what it is specifically, or talk about the news every now and then.
Oh,
we miss you guys.
Our Skypes are open, or however we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, so we will. So thank you very much, YouTube, for 4.5 years of mostly adequate service, I would say.
Yeah, we had looked at this a couple times where it was like, Hangouts is down. What do we do? But
we had a few weeks where that was the case. Like, oh crap, what do we do now? Because there isn't really a turnkey solution for doing 3 people on a video call like this and having it go to YouTube.
Yeah. If I mean, I think whatever we wind up doing, it might wind up being on Twitch, but it'll wind up on the YouTubes in some fashion or another, I would imagine. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see what works best for the show and evolve it, and all that jazz.
And we could probably look at what Player One does with that, because they've been using the Hangouts on Air probably.
Yeah, I don't know if they started before us or right after us. I think it was around the same time at the very least.
Yeah. All right. So one final round of plugs for the road. Of course, youtube.com/NWRTV. Because just because this show is going away doesn't mean we're going away with video content. Oh no, we're going great guns.
Yeah. That we're gonna keep on having a lot of reviews and stuff. There's always ideas in the hopper for more cool video content. I know on my end, I have a lot of scripts that I would like to turn into full things. Potentially things that are GameCube and 3DS related, but not related, like separate things. One GameCube, one 3DS. That I feel like voicing them here makes me maybe actually have to do them, because the scripts are basically done. I just need to collect video and record voiceover and edit it. I think they'd be cool if I ever finish them.
Yeah, so that's YouTube. Of course, youtube.com/NWRTV, patreon.com/NWR supports the site that supports the show, and you'll get exclusive access to an RFN episode every month, Talk Nintendo podcast every month, and we've got a game. I believe we have a game night this weekend with the patrons.
Saturday, and we're gonna we hit the $300 goal. So I believe if you are a patron, you can get like Casey or Perry or someone to stream a game of your choice.
Oh.
Once a month.
Yeah. So yes, let's make. I'd love to see a lot more of Room in the Night Sky on our Twitch channel.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we have a Patreon Plays episode recording soon on Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So if you are a patron, you can go join the discussion on the Discord, and I'm not sure if there's room open on the podcast, but I also think that the podcast is like recording this weekend. But yeah.
Yeah, and of course the mothership, NintendoWorldReport.com, with all the reviews, previews, news, everything we can get up there.
Yeah.
And one final plug of the socials here. I'm at NWR Donald. Neal is at Enron10. And Zach is at Zemiller1902. Follow him for all your dinosaur and soon Alaskan cruise.
I might not have the internet on that cruise.
Well,
okay.
We'll look for it.
So maybe Zach's brand isn't going to grow in the next week.
But hey, post it when you get back. Although I still find it weird that you're flying to Seattle for doing an Alaskan cruise, and then you have to fly back to Seattle to go back to Alaska.
Well, we boat back to Seattle and then fly home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get to say cheap, so I'm going to say baldness.
Indeed. That's the show. Thank you very much, and we will see you on the other side. Bye-bye.